You?
Good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. We've just gone live, so everyone, welcome to the first edition, live edition of the Inspiration Show. I'm Natalie Ledwell, and it is my honour and pleasure to bring these shows to you every week. Our new format, we'll actually be doing a live show every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. And so I'm very honoured and happy to introduce my new guest, or my first guest, Hale Dwoskin. How are you, Hale?
I'm great.
Great. Now we just need you to get your video to work.
Oh, okay.
We've got your little, we've just got your lovely thumbnail there at the moment. Now, for those of you who are maybe not familiar with Hale, Hale is the creator of the Sedona Method, which is one of the most effective ways to be able to help you blast through any sabotaging, anything that is sabotaging your success and holding you back. And I'm sure that Hale's going to share quite a bit of that today.
Yeah.
And you may also recognize him from the movie The Secret, because he was one of the people in the movie of The Secret as well. Yeah, so as you can see, this is definitely live. And with technology, we often find that we have some little hiccups and things, and that's all part of the show. Yeah, how
So
are you going
this
to...
particular, I wasn't told we're doing video. Uh,
Okay,
so I have just audio, no video.
not
There's
a
no,
problem.
I only have I don't have a webcam yet installed on this computer.
Not a problem. Well, we can still see your thumbnail and we can still hear you, so that's great. So why don't we start first of all with you just explaining your story and your background and how you stumbled upon the work that you're doing with the Sedona Method.
Oh, sure. So uh, I have been a into self-help and spirituality and seeker since my teenage years, and I had already done many tools for self-help and spirituality when I met my mentor, Lester Levinson, back in 1976 at age 22. And Lester actually came as a guest to a seminar that I helped organize for another seminar leader, and didn't really notice him in the seminar, but myself and the other organizers and the seminar leader went out to lunch with Lester, and I was really struck by just the peace and the love and the grace that was pouring through him. And so I had no idea what he did. He didn't really tell me much about it, except that you sit around the table and release, and I had no idea what that even meant. This is 1976. I had visions of beating pillows and screaming, and it wasn't something I was that particularly interested in, but I decided if it could give me even just a little bit of what he obviously was a living example of, I wanted to at least give it a try. So the next weekend I did the seminar. It was a 2-weekend seminar, and he didn't actually teach it. He had already trained other people to teach it. And before the seminar was over, it just opened up a whole new world for me. And I also realized that this was the main work I'd come to do this lifetime, and I've been doing it now since 1976. Lester, before he passed away in the early 90s, passed all his copyrights to me and asked me to continue the work. And when I inherited the work, there was one way of letting go, which is just simply deciding to do it. And now there are 5 and counting. And basically the Sedona Method is still basically the Rolls Royce of letting go. When we were doing it in the 70s, no one was even really talking about it. It wasn't part of most self-help or spirituality, except people told you you should do it. They didn't really tell you how to do it. And since then, we've had many, many copiers and many, many other groups now talk about the importance of letting go or do processes to help you do that. But the Sedona Method is still the leader, and I still run the show. And also the Sedona Method itself has continually transformed every part of my life, and I've seen it transform literally hundreds of thousands of people in a very profound way. So that's a little bit about what this is all about.
Great. So I know it's called the Sedona Method. Do you work out of Sedona, or do you travel around when you're working with people?
Am still living in Sedona, although I'm thinking of moving. The Sedona Method was named the Sedona Method because it used to be called mind freedom, because it frees the mind so completely. And in the late 70s, there was something called the Jonestown Massacre, where 800 people drank the Kool-Aid or so, and we thought people might misinterpret mind freedom, even though it was the opposite of what was happening there. What that was mind control, and mind freedom would have saved 800 people's lives, but we still didn't want to take that chance. So by the early courses of the Sedona Method were taught in Sedona, Arizona in the early 70s. And I and the Sedona Method basically shows you how to feel as good as you do in a beautiful place like Sedona, Arizona. So we picked the name because it was also neutral. No one had actually ever heard of Sedona back then. This is the 70s. It hadn't been discovered. No one knew about vortexes or any of that kind of stuff. That was all much later. So it since has gotten a name in and of itself, the town Sedona. But that's where the name came from. It's not actually related to where I live. And yes, I do travel some to do the course, but the beauty of the course is that it's something you can do anywhere, anytime, wherever you are. And we teach it not just through seminars, but we teach it through the Sedona Method book and through our audio programs. So.
Right.
And so I don't do that much traveling now. I'm fortunate people come see me a few times a year, which I really enjoy. If 100 or so people come and see me, but that's more of an advanced course. You have to know the basics first to do that.
So when you talk about releasing or letting go, what are we talking about letting go? What is it that we're letting go through this method?
Well, what you're letting go of is stress and tension and anxiety and anger. You're letting go of the thoughts and feelings and beliefs and attitudes that prevent you from having, being, and doing whatever you choose, and prevent you from living happiness. In my experience, you can live a life that is filled always with well-being and happiness, not dependent on anything external. And that is probably that sense of happiness and calmness and joy and peace that is revealed every time you do this work very profoundly is the ultimate end of doing the work. You actually can have more money, and most people do. You can have better relationships, and most people do. You can improve your health. But those are side benefits to that core thing of just that happiness that comes when you let go of what's obstructing it.
Yeah. Now, guys, if you're watching the show live and you have a question for Hale, make sure that you put it in the comment box below, and we'll do our best to answer questions before we finish the show today. Okay, so when we're talking about going through this process, it sounds like the first step in the process is to have the intention that this is what we want to do, that we actually want to release the stress and everything that's going through. So what's the process that we go through?
Okay, well, that's actually a good question. I want to just take a step back and make sure people are clear first what I mean about letting go, and then I'll actually take people into the process so people can actually experience it. And then we can do that off and on through the rest of the call. But first, pick up a pen or a pencil. Why don't you do this with me? Do you have any object you can pick up off your desk? Great.
Yep.
So that object represents your stress, your tension, your sense of I don't know how, I can't, all sense of inner limitation. And your hand, so hold it up so people can see it, because they can see you, they can't see me. So your hand, but just put it in your palm. Just open your palm, put it in your palm, but hold it up so it's in the camera. Okay, so that object represents and those of you watching at home, please do this with us. That object represents all your sense of limitation, and your hand represents your gut or your awareness. Now close your hand around the object and grip it. Grip it really tightly. Now if we did this long enough, it would start to feel really uncomfortable and really familiar, because this is what we do all the time with our sense of limitation without realizing it. But that's enough gripping. Now open your hand and roll the object around in your hand. Now, is this object attached to your hand?
No.
Right. But if you think about your relationship to thoughts and feelings and beliefs, they actually feel like they are us. It's even in our language. When we feel angry, we don't usually say, I'm angry. We don't usually say, I feel angry. We say, I'm angry. We don't usually say, I feel sad. We say, I'm sad. We actually identify with all these limitations, and if we do that long enough, we stop recognizing that that's made up. It's not true. So now close your hand lightly around the object. You don't have to grip it tightly for this. Turn your hand upside down. Now just let go of the pen or whatever the object is. Just let it go. So now it doesn't usually make a sound when you let go, but sometimes there's a lot of laughter. But that's what we mean by letting go. And if you are able to drop that object, then you can let go of anything, whether it be stress or tension or any inner hiccup that's saying I can't just have, be, and do whatever I choose. And so that choice to let go is the key. The process that we'll be going into in a second is just a way to access the key. It's a way to access something that's natural. We all have a natural ability to let go of stress and tension and anxiety. Young children do this naturally. If you've ever been around a young child and watch them fall down and then look around to see if they need to be upset, that happens.
Yeah.
And if they catch someone's eye, they may manufacture an upset for a moment, but as soon as they get the attention they were looking for, they drop it. So we are born with this natural ability. We're born actually without identifying with our sense of limitation. It takes a few years for us to unlearn how free we are. And it takes also a few years to unlearn this natural ability. And by the time we're young adults, we've gotten pretty good at holding on, and we've forgotten how to let go. But because it's natural, when you start doing it again, you can't lose it again because it is so natural. So the first process we'll do together is just a simple process that starts with just deciding on an issue that you'd like to feel freer about. It could be something with your money, something with your health, something with your relationships, or just something with your overall sense of well-being. And once you decide on the focus, then you just simply allow yourself to welcome or allow whatever you're experiencing in this moment. That's the first step. And then we ask these questions, and if you're asking yourself, you do it in the first person, but I'll do it in the third person so I can talk us all through this. So in this moment, could you just allow yourself to feel whatever you feel about that particular situation that came to mind?
Yeah.
Good. And then could you also, just as best you can, just like you dropped the pen, could you let it go? Just could you?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay, good. So you actually did let go a little bit in that moment. I don't know if you could feel it, but those of you who are watching at home and listening at home, if you did the process with us, then you felt something too. And so the questions are, the first thing is you decide on what you're focused on. The next question is, could you just welcome it or allow it? Or could I just welcome or allow it? And then could I let it go? Would I, and when? And if you were able to drop the pen or even able to imagine that, then you can let go of anything, just like Natalie just did. She let go of the pen, and she let go of an emotion. And this starts very simply and starts very easily and can be very subtle. But the more you do this, the more you let go, the more profound it gets, the more powerful it gets, until even patterns that used to seem insurmountable, even things you've just assumed you'd always feel or always be limited by, even things you've had as long as you can remember, can start to drop away, and just requires some focus and attention and repeatedly doing that same process. So what was your experience when we did that?
I mean, I actually really felt the emotion,
Uh-huh.
myself in that emotion. And then when I actually asked my question, well, could I? I'm like, well, of course I could, you know.
Right.
And it's like, well, then would you? And I'm like, yeah, I would,
Uh-huh.
because I can actually see myself feeling lighter and feeling better if I let go of that negative emotion.
Uh-huh.
And when you said when, I'm like, I've got to do it now.
Uh-huh.
Do it now.
Good. Good. And that's probably when you felt something start to shift.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
That's awesome, Hale. I mean, like I said, I love the Sedona Method because it's fairly simple, but and it's something that we can equip ourselves with. So regardless of what situation that we're in, and you know, like we focus on maybe money today, but we can focus on relationships. We can focus on our health. We can focus on all different areas, and be able to use that same method for all of those for all of those things. So, Hale, I really appreciate you being here today and being my first guest on my live hangout. Now, I know that you have a bit of a special offer specifically for our MyMovies community. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. We have a course that is the best way to learn this process, and this course is called the 4-in-1 Super Course, or it's just called the Sedona Method course. But the reason it's called the 4-in-1 course is it has a course on the basics of the techniques, and then it has a mini course on creating wealth and abundance in your life. It has a mini course on having more loving and satisfying and nurturing relationships, and it has a mini course on having greater health and well-being in your life. And by the time you've completed these 3 courses in the basic course, you're equipped with tools you can use in every part of your life, and you have a reference to go back to whenever you need it. The course is, if you get it as an audio as CDs, it's 20 CDs, 200-page workbook, and my book, the Sedona Method book. I think you can also order it as a download, in which case you get a download of the workbook, and you get MP3s that you can access anytime you need to. And this course is usually about a $400 course, and it's 40% off at the moment, and it's I think it's 8 payments of just $30. You don't even have to come up more than with $30 now, and then you start getting all the benefits of the program. And this course I developed so that people could really dive into this tool, every aspect of this tool, and keep using it in their lives. Because what you'll find as you start incorporating this into your life, you'll find that in the beginning you'll use it on the most obvious things. You might be cut off in traffic and be really angry and need to release, or your husband or wife might say or do something that drives you crazy and you need to release, or your employees or your boss might be obstructive or causing stress or tension, and you'll need to release, and you will. And so you start with the most obvious things, and then you can also work on the overarching patterns that have been preventing you from living the life that you choose. And as you work on it, as you do this, you'll find that your ability to really recognize what you're experiencing moment to moment goes up exponentially, and your ability to be free of it in this moment goes up exponentially. So it's really just the beginning of a life transformation. doing the course repeatedly is helpful, but you find that as you listen to it even the very first time, by the time you're done, you will have addressed some of your core issues, and they'll be gone.
Yeah, that's awesome. So guys, there is a link on this page. It's either to the side or on the video here where you can actually go through straight to their website to take advantage of an incredible offer. Or you go to sedona.com/Ledwell, which is Ledwell. So thanks again, Hale. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Great to finally connect with you and have a chat. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, well, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Now, guys, I encourage you to share this video. And you can do that by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page. I also encourage you to download the app if you haven't done so already, so you can watch the shows on the go. And the app is free. You can get it from the iTunes store. And make sure that you leave your email in the box on the page here, because I would love to send you the Manifesting with the Masters video e-course. It includes masters like John Assaraf and Joe Vitale. It's valued at $87, and I'd like to send it to you for free. So until next time, guys, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.